Hey guys, I'm Fat Dave, and that's my 1972 Gran Torino Sport. We're going to do a video, a series of videos. I'll do parts and bits and pieces of. We're going to do a budget build with this thing. Motor's out at the moment. It's off at the engine builders. It was a 351. It'll come back as a 408 stroker, but not a big buck engine. It'll be good. It'll be fast, but it'll be at a budget that I can afford. So none of your rubbish telling me I've got to put this and that in it, because it's only what I can afford and what I can do with it. So, what a car. I got it about a year and a half ago. I bought it off eBay, of all things, from a guy in Texas called Mike Mezzacano. Really cool guy. Everything went smooth. We were looking for a new car, for a project, for something awesome. Before this, I had a '73 Mark I, which I think I had a midlife crisis, and I sold it. Awesome car. That's another story, but we'll get. And that's on the. It's actually there. That car's on the channel there, so you can have a look of that going down the road and going, it was a good fast car, and it's still around locally. So yeah, really cool. John got a great deal on that. So anyway, we were looking for another car. I didn't know we weren't going to get another Mustang. We were something different. The Gran Torino came up. It was actually a mistake on a Google page where the images come up. We were looking for like the Utes, the Rancheros, that's the one, the Ranchero Ute or something like that. One of these came up and we're like, well, oh yeah, that's the one from the movie. Of course, here in Australia, we don't know a lot about the Gran Torino. We didn't, only from the film. I'm thinking they're all 429s, some exotic supercar that you can't get hold of. Little were we to know, there was plenty of them made. There was all different ones. The 72 being the Clint Eastwood film one, was what we found. And with my favourite engine, the best engine built of all time, the 351 Cleveland. I love these motors. I grew up born in the 60s. I grew up in the 70s and 80s in Australia, in Adelaide. And my favourite thing of all was, when an XA or an XW or something would come through where we hung out, and they'd light the tyres on these things. But it was always a 351 for me. I wasn't the Holden guy. You were either Holden or Ford. And you guys are, in the States, are Chev or Ford or Mopar, Chrysler, and we had that in Australia as well. But yeah, I was always the Ford guy. And the 351 was my favourite engine. So to find something with a 351, with a Cleveland, as the Mustang before it had, and then here's the bonus. This is what came with this thing. Okay, Marty report. I want to get more clever at doing this stuff and doing it properly and showing you everything. You'll see that this car here is a one of one. Follows on the Marty report, on the deluxe Marty report, it's one of one. So it's a 1972 Q code Gran Torino Sport, and it's one of one. It's the only one, how they follow the list down, the AM radio, the rim blow steering wheel. And at the end of this it says, it says the VIN number, it says this is that car. This is one of one, and this is that car. So that was just amazing to be to have it here in Queensland, in Australia. So we bought it in the States, like I said, on eBay. It takes you 6 to 8 weeks, I suppose. If any of you are thinking of buying a car in the States, there's plenty of buyers in Australia. These companies that'll ship it over for you for $3,500. People say, how much did it cost you to get over? I've done 2 of them. I think it's about, they said it's $3,500. I'll look at $7,000 at least. Say $10,000 by the time you get your seat belts and lights done and the compliancing, the LO2 compliancing. Say $8,000 to $10,000 with shipping, with everything, and you can come in under that. But if you budget that sort of money, you should be okay. So we bought it. There was a few issues with it. I found the guy who owned it before me. I found his blog on the Torino website, one of the Torino websites, I think if I'd read it, I don't know if I'd bought it, but anyway, there was 40 pages there and a lot of dramas he had with it. It was stolen at one stage. Everything he did on it seemed to, something went wrong. You know, he was starting to wonder, was the car cursed? I've had it blessed, trust me. She's not cursed. She's absolute beautiful car. So I drove it for, once it got complied and everything, I drove it for 6 months, 8 months, a year went by. We'd use it occasionally on the weekends, but just never had that, never had any sting in it. And he had, you know, on his blog, he had the engine, that the original block, the engine that was in it, started rattling and smoking and everything. So he took it out. He got a reconditioned bottom end for it. They did a cam in it, comp cams, you know, just a flat tappet hydraulic, and the numbers on it were very small. It didn't do anything. The good thing was it when he did this, when they pulled the heads off, it had closed chamber heads. So it's got the 4V cast iron heads, but closed chamber, which is a real bonus for one of these cars. So, you know, because most of them came out, you know, 99% of them by that time in '72 were coming out with the open chamber heads, which if it had them, they wouldn't be going on it. But anyway, so yeah, it's got the good heads on it, so that was cool. So we've driven it for a year or so, come into a bit of extra spending money at the moment, and I've thought, stuff it. I mean, the paint and all that looks okay from probably where you guys are seeing it, probably looks really good, but up close it's not good at all. You could do a lot of things. The interior's really good, but let's get the engine done first. I like to work backwards. Get the engine done, spend the big bucks on the engine, and then we'll go from there. Then we'll fix everything else up around it. But let's get that big job done first. So on the phone to PLR Engines. Now they built my last motor in the 73 Mark 1. They did a 393 stroker, which I ran the CHI 4V alloy heads on that. They were awesome. It was a great motor, solid flat tappet cam. Remember, this is a budget build, okay? It's not, you know, huge bucks. I just don't have the money to throw heaps of money at it. So, yeah, that's what it is. It's a budget build. So, out came the motor. We've sent it off to PLR about a month or so, 2 months ago. John's come back and there was a few things, you know, for a supposed reconditioned engine, it had worn a lobe off the cam, so one of the lobes was gone, which comes down to not running the thing in properly. You know, with this 20 minutes at 2,000 or 2,500 RPM with your camshaft, very important to get that get those lifters spinning so they sit in properly. So I think something's happened there when they've run that motor in, because he said the bores were all clean, everything. It looks, you know, looks like it was a genuine new engine, but to knock the lobe off the cam was not a good sign of how it was run in. It was very slow off the mark, and that is where it was terrible. I couldn't get it to do any, you know, you couldn't get it past 4,000 RPM almost. It was, so first thing, into Noosa radiators, of all places, where they do diffs as well, where Ian's had old Clive there working for him. They've pulled the centre out. We've gone for a track lock in there, so you know both wheels are going to hook up, and we've decided on a 3.7 gear ratio. Right, so it's a big car. It's a 4,000 pound car, so that 3.7 is really going to get it moving off the line and zippy it around a bit. Like I said, budget build, so there's no new axles. It's the original 28 spline axles on it. The gear ratio that was in it, which is one of the highest ones from what I've looked up, it was 2.5 to 1. So on the Marty report, it should have had a 3.25 in it, which someone's had in it. Someone's obviously been doing country miles in it in the States or something, and they've put this 2.5 gear in it. And yeah, so anyway, we're down to the 3.7, so that's all set up, ready to go. Transmission was apparently rebuilt. We do have a leak in it, but we'll see what happens once that gets done. It does shift nicely and all the rest of it. So I've got some notes here just so I sort of don't ramble on too much and make sure where we end up is at the right place. So what I've done so far, like I said, we've done the diff, I've pulled the motor out, we've changed over, I've done all electronic ignition, so I've got nice MSD 6AL, the 6AL2 system set up with it, with the MSD distributor, so that'll be cool, so we won't have a drama with that. It's got a brand new exhaust system on it, which is fantastic, but they've done it in 2.5 inch. So with this, we're going for a 408 in this thing, so that's not going to work. It's got beautiful ceramic coated headers on it, so we'll use them. And it's brand new 2.5 inch exhaust system, and I can't even sell it over because no one's got Gran Torinos over here, so that's going to be gone, and we have to go. We'll run a 3-inch system on it. And probably the guys at Noosa Exhaust, Nathan and the boys there will do that. Yeah, and we'll go with that. So that'll be cool. What else have we done with it? Not a lot. Pulled it out. I've pulled the air. It's auto air power steering. We've pulled out the air. They have this huge big air conditioning box with the fans and with the condenser and all that in the engine bay. It was this horrible thing, you know, like the size of. I've thrown it out. It was bigger than this. It was huge. And that's in the engine bay, so eventually it's hot here in Queensland, it's like Florida or wherever. We will run a vintage air system where it's an underdash unit, you know, with a much smaller compressor, not the big old Ford ones that weigh, you know, 30 kilos or whatever they weigh. And yeah, underdash system, so it'll be nice and small because we do need air conditioning here, which will be awesome. So the motor is off, like I said, at PLR engines. We're going to run the original heads. Now here comes the budget part of the build. Right, so it's going to be a 408 stroker with with the kits. So it's a scat system, you know, the scat kit with the you know, rods, pistons, and cranks all done. But it's not the forged steel one. We're going for the Scat 9000 series crank. I save $1,000 there. The I-beam rods, we save another $500 there. So we had the same crank and rods in the 393 in the Mustang and the Mark 1. Look at the video, it's on the thing. That we pushed that hard, and that was a fast. It never missed a beat. And tell me how many 351s you've known of busted cranks or anything. So these not the 9000 series. Like I said, it's a cast crank, but we're on a budget, and that's what I've got to work with. So that's fine. We've used it before, fantastic. So, you know, we'll go from there. The 4V cast heads, the heads that we got with it, that's the ones that are going with it. They're all being redone with new guides, and the valves are already had all the good stainless valves and all that in it that someone had done previously. So, but they'll recut all the seats and do all that stuff and make sure that's all good. Check the springs. I think the springs that are in it, they were comp cam springs that were done when they'd done the heads when they reconditioned the last motor. According to John, they'll be fine. Camshaft, solid flat tappet, right? Not hydraulic roller. That's a girl's cam. I'll probably upset most of you now already, but you know, that's it. I don't care. Solid flat tappet, I love them. Solid roller if I had the money, but we don't have it. So solid flat tappet, awesome. Hydraulic roller, that's for, you know, for reliability, and you don't have to do maintenance and all that stuff. I don't care. I want solid flat where it's rattly and noisy and punching away. That's the cam that we're running in it. So that's going to be awesome. Next from that, inlet manifold. Edelbrock Talker. You've only got so much room. And the 72 Torino has got this beautiful little bonnet scoop that's, you know, the little cutout on it. We can't go messing with that and putting a reverse cow or anything on it, so it's the Talker, Edelbrock Talker, single plane manifold. None of this dual plane stuff. It's got you know, the Cleveland is there to rev, and this thing will, you know, that's what it's, you know, it'd be expected. I'll be hoping this thing's gonna, you know, peak out at 7,000 RPM at least, so no problems. So with a 2-inch spacer, I've mocked all that up, and it fits exactly just under the bonnet perfectly. So that's awesome. So, you know, that's going to be great. So I'm just checking the time here on the camera. Yeah, we're still running. We're still good. So no problems. We'll get to an end of this carby. I've got 2 here. We'll probably end up we'll start off with this one, which I scored a few years back from Hume Performance. So it's a 780 Holly, so it's a vacuum secondary, 780 with the chokes and that removed out of it. Perfect for such a big car. I had that on the 390. This is the same carby that was on the 393 on the Mark 1, and it was awesome. So, and it was running on this thing, so I know when we start the car up, when we do the run-in and all that, this will be the carby that we use for the first, for the first while. After that, I've got an 800 double pumper here, which we've run on it before, which didn't suit the 351 that was, the stock 351 that was in it, but I'm figuring that I'm probably going to end up selling both and end up with a 850 double pumper on it, or something similar like that in the description. So, but yeah, part 1. This is the start. Inspired by Drag Boss. There you go. That's a shirt for you, Tim. That's why I wore this shirt tonight. And the Clevo King. A couple of cool guys. I watched their videos and I thought, do my own video. You don't, with this COVID bullshit that's going on, it's something to do. I love sitting there watching the videos on YouTube with people doing their engines and all that, so time to put my idiot head on the line out there and, oh, and look what we got in here. Oh, engine bay drinks. So yeah, time to put myself out there and make an idiot of myself, so that's cool. Like I said, it's a budget build. Join in, we'll follow it along, we'll go along. But like I said, the engine will be back in the next couple of weeks. I'll do another video next week and we'll just follow along and see where we go with it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the other side.